Hey everybody, you're listening to the CrossFit Bangor podcast. This episode, I sit down with Coach Tony. We talk about his CrossFit journey, his transition to weightlifting, and what CrossFit and weightlifting has given him. I had a lot of fun making this one, guys, and I hope you have fun listening. Enjoy.
You can hear me. Like, not just because we're in the same room, but like because it's going through the mic.
Yeah, it's going through the mic because we're best friends.
We are best. I feel like we are like about to cut a record right now.
We are.
Would we be like a boy band or like
What would our name be?
pop rap group or something?
I feel like if we had any talent, you'd be a rapper and I'd be a singer. Because like you'd be like I don't know. I feel like that would make sense. I feel like we got on stage and I rapped and you sang. That'd be kind of weird.
I imagine it's like 90s pop rap where we rap and dance too, like in sync at the same time.
So are we wearing in sync?
Not
Are
like
we
a band
wearing?
in sync.
Are we wearing like the ear headphones?
Oh yeah, totally.
Like
We gotta be like microphone on the head type thing.
Oh man.
So we got dance moves and then spinning. That's how I envision
Spinning.
us in a rap group.
Yeah, you're my best friend.
Okay,
I'm gonna start.
Okay,
with
can you
that.
sit? Can we sit? Can you? Are we going now?
Yeah, we're going.
We're going now.
We're starting.
This is it. This is it. Can you hear
We're
me?
Live.
Can
We're
you hear
live.
me?
We're not live.
Oh,
because it's recorded.
all right. So for those of you who didn't know, we were trying to figure out if Zach could hold the microphone while I was talking into it or not, and if that would be weird.
Is it weird? Comment
know.
below. I don't, but I don't know if there's any comment section. If you're on iTunes,
If you're standing and I'm sitting, it's kind of weird, but we're both sitting, so it's okay.
Wait, what if I use two hands?
All
versus
right, I'm open to it. I'm open to it.
one? On that note, I'm interested, and I think everyone would be interested if you. Not everyone knows kind of how you started CrossFit or what that whole deal is. So if you want to kind of start where it all began, back in the day.
Back in the
I don't
day.
know if people know that how original you are as a gangster. You are like the definition of OG.
Yeah. It started in 2007. literally in the gym beneath the stairs of the football stadium at the college I was going to.
Oh, damn.
No CrossFit, nothing. Just me figuring out the stuff from CrossFit.com and then going in there and trying to figure out how to lift weights fast. And I had some success doing it, and so I kind of liked it. So I kept doing it, and then I remember, like, I always tell people when I started, the first thing I noticed was I had classes on the 4th floor of this building, and I'd always get winded going to the top. And so I always tell people that's like where I started. Like I remember going to the top of those stairs and being like, "Oh man, I could run to the top. I'm gonna straight Rocky this." Like it was like Rocky, the beginning of Rocky, like he runs up the stairs and he's like hobbling, and then at the end of it where he just runs up and then he's dancing on the top. That was like me when it was finally like clicking, and then I was like, "Oh, maybe I should get into this diet stuff." And then it was kind of I was hooked, and I did it for like 10 years. I moved to Maine, and I was literally doing it in a dirt driveway with my own bumper plates and my own barbell. I bought my barbell from some shady guy in central Maine who showed me his arm wrestling table.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. He was pretty stoked about it. And then
He's serious when you go in his garage and there's a fucking arm wrestling
table, yeah. And then all these barbells and weightlifting equipment. But yeah, and then I met Mel because I was getting complaints from my neighbors that, I was getting too out of control. And then started working at CrossFit Bangor. I don't know, probably like 2010 or 2011, pretty much right after they opened. And then I've just been here ever since. Just always just trying to get better, always training. I don't know, I'm just a gym rat. Just a gym rat.
I love it.
I guess that's my CrossFit story.
Oh, I love it. So was it CrossFit right off the bat, or were you just kind of lifting weights?
Oh,
at
it
the
was
beginning, back in 2007. But you were looking at CrossFit.com right off the bat.
yeah. So for those of you who haven't seen these videos, because it's all about like Froning and now it's Fraser, you got to go back and watch like the Greg Onmundson. I can never pronounce his name. Like Heavy Fran, when he's in just straight like New Balance shoes and board shorts, and he's shirtless and he's got like the hairy chest. Like Matt Fraser didn't invent the hairy chest; it was Greg.
Yeah.
And he's doing Heavy Fran in some garage with like a pull-up bar that they like built. And I remember watching that video like, I want to be that guy one day. And
And look at you now.
yeah, I feel like because I could crush Heavy Fran when I was still doing CrossFit, but we'll talk about that lack of cardio capacity later, I guess. But yeah, I got to a point where I was like, man, I wanted to be that. And so yeah, it was CrossFit fifth gear ever since I saw those. I watched that video probably a dozen times.
Yeah, it's crazy how much things have changed since then, in terms of like what was crazy back then versus now, especially like looking at the games and they're doing Amanda, and now they're doing like quadruple Amanda.
Or you even had double Grace.
Oh yeah,
They had that double Grace that Fraser crushed as well.
yep, that's crazy. I think we might have lost my mic.
Is your mic still on?
I
Do
don't
you want
think
to
so.
share a mic?
No, hold on one second. Let me pause this. Let me pause this recording. Oh, there it goes. Oh, we're good. All right. Sorry. Who's it?
Oh, that's my wife.
Who's that?
I love her. Ooh, hey, see you later.
All right, we're back. We're live. Sorry, technical difficulties. So, I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit about your transition to weightlifting, your first weightlifting meet, and how kind of goals can change as you progress with your kind of fitness career. So when did you kind of make the switch from CrossFit to kind of full on weightlifting?
I think probably November of last year. What is 2000? So 2016, November last year, I started doing more in my program, and at first I really just used a weightlifting program online. Team Dark Orchestra. I used it just for the weightlifting portion because I figured I couldn't do that myself, and then I was like, well, maybe I should start doing these squat cycle that they're doing right now too. And then I started doing that, and I still did Metcons and stuff. And then I just kind of slowly found myself like, well, I won't do this Metcon because I'm not going to be able to squat heavy tomorrow, or it's really going to affect, I'm not going to hit those clean and jerk percentages like I should be able to. So I found myself starting to kind of, I don't want to say cherry pick, because I wasn't cherry picking because I was like, well, I'm better at this than another. It was just more of like,
Your priorities changed.
yeah, like I wouldn't have been recovered to hit those heavy weights like I wanted to hit. So I guess it was kind of like a natural transition. We always talk about having fun training, and I just sort of found myself doing more and more of the program. I was getting hooked on it. I was like, okay,
Right.
well, now I want to start doing all the assistance work, and now I'm not doing any Metcons. Like that's where I'm at right now, where I'm on, like a 4 or 5 day a week weightlifting program, and I swim once a week and maybe do some like bike intervals another week, but for the most part it's just all weightlifting. So it was pretty like organic transition, where it wasn't like I was like, oh, screw this isn't working. People like change programs every 6 weeks. I mean, I did CrossFit for like 10 years.
Seriously. Yeah, no kidding, right?
I think it was just like I was having fun weightlifting, and
Yeah.
and then what happened recently is like I've always felt like my ceiling for strength was pretty defined, and I was already pretty close to it. And then lately I've just been like, the ceiling's a lot higher now, and I've been seeing some big numbers increase since I've been making those sacrifices, because like you were saying,
big numbers.
yeah. So I've been
Like,
pretty stoked.
Some big numbers. You want to like throw some out there in terms of like how? No, like not to like humble brag or anything, but no, but seriously. So it's been how long now? So November 2016. So it's been you're coming on like almost a year now of doing it. Has you found that you kind of can break through those plateaus that you kind of hit before? Because I know we've talked about that a little bit. I know you might have put 350 over your head at one point.
Yeah, I did hit that. That'd be like 159 kilos, I
Yeah.
think. But yeah. So I need the like kilo to dumbbell or to pound
pound to
conversions
dumbbell
for
ratio.
dummies. I can't even say it. That's how hard it is. All right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
350-pound jerk. That was pretty stoked about that. That was like a 30-pound PR. I think I'm most excited about is I finally hit 400 pounds on the front squat.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool because
huge.
that's been like on my goal list for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I write them down. That's how nerdy I am. And you should too if you're listening. Write them things down.
Seriously.
Write them things down. But yeah, that one's been on there for a long time. So I was really, really excited to get that. And that was like I think, my best before that was probably a 380 front squat, but I was basing that cycle off of like a 365 or 370 front squat because I hadn't hit that number in a long time. So to get that 4 bills and then have such a big PR, I was pretty stoked. It was like, man, It kind of clicked. Like you've got a lot more there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes it exciting.
Well, I think it goes to show too, like you're talking 10 years. I've been doing this for 5 years and I haven't PR'd my squat in 2 years, right? So it goes to show like your first 3 months of CrossFit, it's like every day you walk in the door, it's like you walk into a PR, like accidentally, right? And the longer you do it, the harder it is to get those PRs and the more important it is that you just love the process of the training.
Yeah.
Like just walking in the door, high-fiving people, giving a couple slap passes and throwing down some weights. It just got to be fun that way. And if you're coming in looking for those PRs constantly and that's the only time you're happy, it's going to be a tough road because you got to look at the long game. If you don't like the days that you can't even hit 85% or you whatever, that's going to be rough. Not to say it's not hard, but you got to love training.
Yeah, it's totally all the process, whether it's CrossFit or weightlifting. Like, yeah, I'm riding the wave right now, hitting some big numbers, but literally there was a time like this spring where I wasn't even hitting the percentages I was supposed to be hitting because I just felt so sore, like in a good way. Like you've gotta, like Zach said, enjoy that process. If you are to get to like right now, I'm in the wave. It's gonna be probably like I'm in tail end. I've been there for like 4 weeks, and then pretty soon, all these big numbers are gonna catch up, and I'm gonna be back to like not fun squatting territory. Logan calls it the Graceland, where your knees feel good and the numbers are easy. But yeah, you gotta like the process. For those of you who like the Tony analogies, it would be like making a really great sandwich, and then you don't get to eat it for like 6 months.
Yeah, you just keep making it.
And then every day you got to make it again.
Yeah.
And then finally you get to have it.
Oh, it tastes so good.
Oh man.
And then you can make another one.
Yeah, exactly. You'll probably make like you said, a good solid 3-4 weeks, at least in weightlifting. But yeah, those PRs, you got to fight for them.
Yep. I think it goes both ways too. With CrossFit, you're trying to lift so many different things at the same time. So you're trying to get good at conditioning and weightlifting, gymnastics. So that's tough. But then when you narrowed it down to 3 lifts, then it's like, oh shit, this is what I do, and that's even more pressure. And that kind of like rolls into you had the awesome experience of going down and hitting up your first weightlifting meet. What was that like?
Oh yeah, first meet. Well, I'll just come out and say it. I totally bombed out. So for those of you unfamiliar, you have to make a lift in the snatch and the clean and jerk to qualify for like the podium spots, or basically to be in the competition. And I didn't make any clean and jerks because I was having some problems with my hip, and then I got all messed up that day. Fell apart on game day, but that's how it goes.
Your snatches went well, though.
The snatches went well. I was 3 for 3 with the snatches, and I hit some good numbers there. I think I hit like something like 115 on the snatch, somewhere around like 250. So that was a good snatch. I would have, and that's what I learned is I would have taken first if I had made one clean and jerk because I was winning, and I thought about that, and I was like, bombing out was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. Because if I go in first meet and take first place podium, it does not do the sport justice. That'd be like winning first in your first CrossFit competition. It took me like 5 years to get my first place in CrossFit. and weightlifting's no different. I think if I would have gotten podium the first time, it would have been like I didn't get the real experience. It's more about struggle than it is about like these small moments of success. I mean, it's all fun, but yeah, like losing is like the best thing that could have happened to my training, which is kind of funny. It's kind of like every Rocky movie, he always loses and comes back.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it goes.
Oh, you gotta believe that. Like all the best comedians, I know you love stand up. You gotta believe that Louis C.K. didn't walk up on his first show and just, crush it.
They've got
You
a
better
place
believe-
just for bombing jokes.
Yeah.
They do that. That's
They
a
actually
thing.
do it on even like 20 years deep. They're still
They like, try
they're
it
still
out and
doing
then
it.
screw it up.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. And
Yeah.
it leaves you more fired up than ever to come back and hit it again and train harder. That's cool. Do you think it's valuable to compete not just CrossFit, but maybe even kind of like I think with CrossFitters we're lucky because we can compete in all kinds of sports. We can do 5Ks, we can do weightlifting, powerlifting. Do you think it's valuable to kind of stretch your limits of your experience, if you will, to kind of venture out into uncharted territory and hit up like a weightlifting meet or something?
Yeah, I think there's two benefits to doing that. One, I think it's just fun. You should be trying to train with other people. And sometimes, your life's busy and you can only train at a certain time. But, like every once in a while, like meet up with some people that you don't see very often. You don't get to train out. Like I don't get to train with you all the time. So it's really fun when every once in a while we get to throw some barbells around.
Yeah.
But usually I know both of us are like working out at a weird time or something like that to make that happen. And sometimes I think that's, like going to a competition requires that time, but it's fun. That's why we've been doing like Max Out Friday at like 5, usually till about now, close down time, just because it's fun. Yeah, we're here to lift heavy weights, but we just want to have fun lifting with other people. So
Exactly.
that's one reason why to compete. And then on the other hand, like like I do weightlifting for sport, not just for fun. Like I want to be on that first place podium. So you have to lift with people who are better than you. Yeah, that's it. I know there's a couple people around the state of Maine that if I'm traveling, I'll make it a point to stop in at their gym and train with them because they're stronger than I am. Or when I went to a competition, that's the thing. Like I was weighing 189, which is like a light. Like my weight class is.
You have like 20 abs?
Yeah, yeah. That was like battle ready. But that was like the very end of my like the 94 weight class, and now I'm at like 208, which is a better training weight for that because losing like 1.5 pounds because it's 206.8 is the max is pretty easy. But yeah, I learned that through competition is that man, there's some big people out there, and those people who are bigger than I am, they're gonna push me to train harder to hit those weights too. I saw some guy qualify for nationals in that meet, so he was in a weight class less than me. I think he needed 285 kilo total, which is kind of a lot. That's like basically 150 kilo clean and jerk, which is 330. Am I
Just
getting these
330.
numbers?
That sounds about right.
And then you'd have to snatch like 135, which would be like 300 pounds, something like.
Yeah.
So that'd be
Not
huge.
135. Like not
Yeah,
45s.
yeah,
Like
kilos, yeah.
Almost
So,
345s.
Seeing that and being around that atmosphere is, it makes you better, and that's why I like trying to get people in to here on Fridays. I like let's just lift some weights and have some fun, learn some things, and it's good for you. You're not gonna ruin your training by lifting a couple extra weights here and there.
Right. I think that's why CrossFit is so successful in general as like a gym, as a community, as a training methodology, is that you come in and every day you're training. It's almost like practice. It's almost like team practice because you go to another gym and I went down in Portland. Didn't have a CrossFit gym that was open on a Sunday. Just went to the Y. Wanted to swim a little bit. Trying to get better than you at swimming. I'm a long way away. You freaking water cheetah. Water cheetah.
That's like a hammerhead shark just
Seriously,
plowing
scary.
through the water.
Watching you go through the water is scary. I'm like, I can't outswim him. He's gonna get me.
Is that Jason Khalipa?
But we went down and Sarah and I were squatting, and it was just like the saddest place because everyone had headphones on. No one was talking to each other. Yeah, there's no music. and it was just like, man, this kind of sucks. And then you come into the gym here, and you know, you're out back throwing some weights around with Logan, and the class is going, music's bumping. I think that training environment, along the lines of the same thing you were talking about with like training partners, just like being with people that even like better than you or not, just training next to somebody, you're going to push.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason why you're here. There's only 226 of us. So this is a very small population. There's a reason. There's a very specific type that comes in here, you know, to say, oh, I'm not competitive. Yeah. Okay. You're not competitive in CrossFit, but you're competitive. Let's get real. And that's a good thing. I'm not demonizing it because I'm competitive too. I'm in the same boat as you, just competing in a different sport, but I think it's a good thing. And I love pushing people to do things that aren't CrossFit. I don't think we should get stuck in that rut of just only doing CrossFit, whether it's competitions or not. Go run a Spartan race, go do a weightlifting meet, a powerlifting meet, just have fun and use your fitness in other realms. And if you find that you like deadlift, bench, and squat, become a powerlifter. And that's cool. That's awesome. So to bring it back around, way back into 07.
Oh,
if you could,
07.
you know, grab Tony from back then and give him some advice. I mean, you got looking at 10 years of experience. What would you tell him? It doesn't have to be just one thing. What would you think? What would you tell him?
Squat. That's it.
That's
it.
Keep squatting.
Yeah.
I love it.
Because I think back then, like CrossFit, you know, CrossFit.com, you did whatever was on there, and it was awesome because it exposed people to programming and gave them nice programming. I just wish I would have been on a more structured program sooner.
Okay.
Because it probably, like, you know, I wasn't squatting regularly probably until I started at CrossFit Bangor back in, like I said, 2011. Yeah. So that's like 4 years of time where, you know, I could have been squatting close to 500, because when I was in high school, I squatted like over 400, which was probably really, really scary because, you know, it was like a bunch of like 17-year-old dudes and they're like, here, go lift some weights. Like,
you just stumbled. Like you just stumbled into the gym. Like, oops.
Yeah.
Where am I?
I did this. Can I lift it? I think so. I'll lift it all day. But yeah, I think that's what I would have told myself, because I've always had fun training. I don't regret anything. Knowing what I know now, and I love the weights, that I just probably would have done it sooner. I probably still do CrossFit, but I would have been on that structured strength program a lot quicker, I think.
I mean, you didn't know back then, especially CrossFit was so young back then too. There wasn't really much in terms of like strength training. It was just one workout, and if it was squats, that was it. There wasn't a squat then a workout. I don't know if people really know that. The people that come here now, because we get this like awesome structured, you know, Fridays tempo front squats, then a WOD or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But back then, it was just it.
There weren't no podcasts in 2007. Like literally, the resources. That's what I always tell people when they start CrossFit now. It's like, you're going to get exponentially better than I did when I started, because it was like, you're going like a forum. A webpage forum. That was our resources. Let me go on this forum. And then I can try and figure out how to use YouTube, because people weren't really using YouTube back then. Now I can fix my car with YouTube. But
seriously.
Now there's like
I learned how to do this podcast through YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. You can learn everything.
I learned how to snatch through YouTube.
Yeah, there's training programs galore.
Yeah. They're lucky.
Everything.
That's awesome.
What else? What else
so
are we talking about?
So for the normal CrossFitter that comes in here on a regular day basis, what's a couple things that you see through your coaching career, and now that you're just doing weightlifting and with 10 years experience, what's something that they could do to improve their weightlifting, tomorrow? What's a couple things, whether technique or how they approach the bar, or what do you think?
Well, I already said it one time, but I'll say it again because it's worth saying again. But yeah, lift together, have some fun. That's what we do on Max Out Fridays. It's not about like hitting PRs. It's just about, like you were saying earlier, having a fun atmosphere to train in. That's why people go to the same classes all the time, because they like, working out with that group of people. So I guess in the class setting, I think some people are more hesitant to want to share a barbell with some people, especially when the big classes, everybody wants to have their own stuff. But literally, unless you're doing like 10 back squats,
every minute on the minute.
If you're just doing, clean and jerks or snatches or something like that, and there's time, share a barbell with somebody, because you get somebody to watch, and if they're going to push you to either do the lift better or, potentially lift more weight if that's appropriate in that context.
Yep.
I think one easy thing people could do also in that, I learned a lot from both clean and jerks, the clean and the snatch, doing powers, but moving your feet. You got to move your feet.
Mm-hmm.
So if I tell anybody who's, training in CrossFit, if you're doing skill work, unless they're working on barbell cycling, like cycling is meant to transfer over into your Metcons, if you're just lifting a snatch for strength building, you should be moving your feet. They should be like hitting the ground, like, oh, hold on. Oh, that's my hands clapping, just in case you were curious. I should, ain't no other clapping going on here besides that. But I should hear those feet hit those platforms, doing those powers, and your feet need to be basically be in a squat width. So that way it transfers over into where you would be receiving the bar in a full squat. You're just not going down all the way. So yeah, move your feet in those powers, and make sure your feet are in that squat position, but you're still above parallel, obviously. And honestly, you'll learn a lot about your lift just from moving your feet. And
seriously,
you'll be a lot more powerful. Your pull will get better. Everything will start clicking. That's when you get in that magic land.
Common mistakes. Obviously, you're saying moving your feet, so maybe not moving his feet as much. So what are some common mistakes that CrossFitters make on the lifts? We're talking snatch, clean, and jerk.
Yeah, I would keep myself in this category. It's kind of hard to explain over the podcast, but they need to be pulling their knees back more throughout the lift. So that doesn't mean that the bar starts up against the shins like a deadlift, because it's going to be more forward. Like I usually point towards the ends of your shoelaces, like, where your mom would squeeze your toes in your shoes.
Yeah.
It's going to be starting way out there, which is way further away than the deadlift. And then you push your shins into it from there. But after you stand up, you need to be actively pulling the bar back. So most people lift the bar too straight up and down. When the bar's straight up and down, the hips have to come too far forward, and you push the bar away from you. And usually you miss it out in front, or like in my case, I jump forward and catch it. But eventually you'll either not make the weight, or it'll just be too heavy for you to compensate for it. So you got to pull the bar back. If you're missing it out in front, it's because it's not far enough back.
Right.
You can always pull it back more. From the floor into the hip, both of those things are just going to help keep the bar path in a natural squat. Like if you're doing a clean, I always like to say you have to pull the bar back in the front squat. Like if you're listening to this, like stand up and look at your shoes, and then look at the very ends of those shoelaces. That's where the barbell is, and the front of your shoulders is like 4 inches behind that. So if I'm going to get that to the front of my shoulders to squat it, it's got to come back 4 inches.
Right.
If it's just going straight up and down, I have to compensate for that. So yeah, it's gotta go back, and it starts from the floor. But yeah, that'd be, I think, the common mistake if I was going to say one.
Right.
The bar is just straight up and down. It's too far away.
Yep. I mean, that's the only thing I'm thinking about when I have like that heavy clean or heavy snatch. That's the only thing I'm thinking about. The minute I pull on that thing, I was like, get it back, get it back, get it back, because it's fighting you forward. That's where it wants to go.
Yeah.
The bar wants to go forward, and you're just fighting like hell to pull it back into your hip. And once it's there, that's where the magic is.
You used to pull the bar too far back. You'd be like, you'd jump back like 16 inches.
Do, yeah.
I was like, man, that was crazy. And you'd still make like 220.
Yeah, it's still not good though.
You don't jump that far back though.
Not anymore.
Yeah. And that you worked on that for a long time.
Yeah.
That's the process we were talking about earlier. It's like, you got to enjoy
That's
that.
what makes it fun though, man. Like you were talking about with the weightlifting. I mean, like if I grabbed the barbell and the first time I snatched 225, it'd be boring. It's like, this is boring. It's just so good. I don't want that. I want to work for it, dude. I want to and that's something too. Like, I I like the days where I suck, you know, like when I get beat like bad, you know, when we're in like a salt bike deadlift workout and I get beat bad. Yeah, at first like I'm kind of like pissy about it, but then I get in my car and I'm like, I can't wait to get in the gym tomorrow. I'm gonna destroy myself in that the next time bike comes up on that workout, I'm gonna destroy myself because I'm not gonna let that happen again. I mean, that's the same thing you felt for that weightlifting meet. I'm sure as hell not bombing out my clean injuries again. That ain't gonna happen.
No, I stayed
know
up
what I mean?
all night thinking about it. I
Exactly.
stayed up. I remember it was probably till like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I was just literally like reading things.
Yep.
Like, because that was the only thing I could do. I was like, I've got to do something.
Right.
Because it was still on my mind, and that even still happens now. I'll just stay up probably like once a week. I just will stay up extra late, laying in bed thinking about snatch and clean and jerk.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I'm just such a gym rat. I'm just always thinking about it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like,
I feel like a lot of people can relate. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably can relate to that.
you
probably can relate
you
to
probably
that.
like lifting weights
Yeah.
fast.
I feel like too, that's the point that gets missed because you go to a movie, right? Captain
Oh.
America, right? If he was just good the whole time, it'd be so boring. He's got to get punched down because then that's when he gets to stand up and goes, I'm just getting started.
I just get started. He's like, I could do this all day.
Oh, that's what he says.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could do this
oh
all
my God,
day.
that was my favorite part. He's getting his ass beat, and he's like, I could do this all day.
All day.
And that's what I'm talking about. If he walked into every fight and just destroyed them, then what's the point of watching the movie?
Mm-hmm.
But we think we go into the gym and if we don't PR, it's like this crushing
This day
blow.
sucks.
Yeah, that's I suck. This doesn't work. Blah blah blah. And it's like you should want that a little bit. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that diversity. I mean, again, it goes on to there's only 226 of us as it is today. If you don't like getting, you know, your butt kicked in workouts, you wouldn't be here. So you obviously already have that. It's just that last little bit that we kind of get out of our heads. Like, all right, no, today wasn't the best day. You found a weakness, good, attack it. I mean, that's the whole point. That's what a book is. That's what a video game is. That's what a movie is. It's just here's a problem. Here's how we fixed it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and like when you are having those crappy workouts and you're like you feel like you've got nothing in the tank, that's when adaptation's happening. So whatever your goals are, you know, like when I was 189, aesthetically, I was like pretty stoked. I was like, oh man, like 180, 189, dang. Like, but now the adaptation is just different. Like last Friday, I squatted 380 for 5, and I was really stoked because, like, compared to some of the weightlifters I compete with, my back and front squats are light. I get away with getting barbells overhead. I can compete with them in that, but like my baseline strength's a lot different. But in terms of adaptation, so I squatted 380 for 5, and then that Monday I had to do a 2-rep max and then, you know, hit it again for another 2. And I barely hit 350, and it was like I just smoked 380 on Friday, and then Monday I was like everything I could to get 350 up, and then I was like, I gotta do it one more time. And then like
Another one.
Yeah, but that's where the adaptation happens. And then this Friday, I'm not saying like adaptation happened in like 4 days or whatever, and then I hit another PR this Friday today. I'd say that was mostly to, like you were talking about earlier, like training atmosphere. I had like five or six people in here for like Max Out Friday, and I got that weight on my back, and I'm like, there's no way if it goes down that it's not going to come back up because everybody's here and we're all working out together. So it went up today, and that was cool.
Yep, I think that's the point. That's the point.
Lift them up, and I put them down.
And again, another one.
Another one.
So,
give me another one. What do you got?
I got one.
You got one?
I've been asking everyone this. I really like this question. What has the weights, the grind, the whole thing, the CrossFit, the weightlifting, what is it giving you? Either the one thing or the multiple things. What is it giving you? We want to know. Tell the people.
That's like, well, like he was asking me this earlier, and I was like, gains. Like,
I think I got that in the B-roll. I think that I got to play that at the beginning.
No, like really, like that's not like what drives me. Is like yeah, I love hitting PRs, but honestly, like we're talking about, the training atmosphere, adaptation, just enjoying the process. I'm a gym rat. I just love to train. I love to
Mm-hmm.
be here. Whatever it is, I want to do it. But I think you learn a lot. Like I'm halfway through my PhD, and your PhD is just basically one really long, slow metcon. It's like it's like
Just like 20 Murphs.
it's yeah, exactly.
Back to
Like
back.
we were talking about this the other day. Like if it's a long metcon and you go out way too hot, and then you're like, oh man, I got to see if I can hold on.
Yeah.
That's like what getting your PhD is like. You're like, I'm going way too fast, and I just got to see if I can hold on this whole time. So like
Yeah.
mentally, like doing CrossFit and doing like weightlifting is freaking mentally challenging. It's like the hardest thing I've ever done. It's just nothing's ever that difficult, and it's usually more mental than it is physical. Like today's PR, I was supposed to do 3 sets of 3 at 385, and that required me to PR my back squat and then do it again for 3 and then do it again for 3. And like that is mentally really hard. And then I look
sure.
at the video because I like to video my lifts. I'm a nerd. And I was like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Like I probably could have done a little bit more. So mentally it's taught me a lot. Weightlifting, I think what that's given me is, I don't know how to describe it, but even when I'm working out by myself, it's almost like there's something about it that my brain really enjoys. And like we talk about having fun, whether it's CrossFit or not, and this is kind of like that deeper moment, but I don't quite know what it is. But like when I'm sitting there, like most of the time in weightlifting, you're not lifting something. You're like sitting down, you're sitting down, and you're like if you're squatting a lot, you're probably just breathing and you're not thinking about anything.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of time that you're spent thinking. Like every rep that you snatch is gonna be different. So that I guess that could be in something else that people should learn is it's a mindful activity.
It's an
And
art. It's like it's literally judged. It's not like
Yeah, it is.
black
You
and
have
white.
3 judges.
Exactly. It's everyone's got the different style, but there's a judge that tells you, no, that wasn't a good lift.
Yeah, I think art's a good way to describe it because it's art is entertaining. It's something that people do because they enjoy it. It's giving them some sort of aesthetic. I don't even know. It's aesthetically pleasing for them. Maybe they like to do it. You have to make your body do crazy stuff.
Yeah. Humans are made to build. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We build. We're constantly building something, whether we're raising kids, building a
Gains.
career, and we're built for that. And I think this is like the most primal, satisfying thing for your body to do is to work. I think we're made to work, and I feel like a lot of people go through their days not. Whether they're studying for their PhD, like I had to freaking read 1,000 books and write 1,000 pages of papers. I've seen some of the papers you write. I can't imagine. Can't even imagine. But then you get to come in here and it's all you think about. That's it. You're so, especially you talk about weightlifting, you snatch and then you're supposed to rest for 3, 4, 5 minutes, right? And you're just sitting there and looking at your video over and over again. How can I make it better? And you're talking about like 1 second of your life. And you're analyzing it to the little bit of like I could have pulled back a little bit more, and it's like building. It's like Legos.
Yeah,
it's like adult Legos.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you're
I think that's a
building-
good way to think about
yeah,
it.
and just
Zach just flexed his biceps
yeah, a
just now,
little
in
bit.
case you
It's
didn't
just
know.
It's the best kind of Legos.
It is, and I've always liked, I guess, been more geared towards things like that. So I think, I enjoy the process and I see it, and like I said, every lift you're thinking. It's a thinking sport, and there's in all that. Like I walk down the stairs sideways most days because my legs are too sore to go straight down. That's at least in the morning. I loosen up throughout the day. It's fine. But there's something peaceful about that process. And it sounds really weird, but if you lift weights, you get that. I mean, if you do CrossFit and you're laying on the floor after that workout, that's your peaceful moment.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you're doing it next to some kick-ass people that care about you a lot.
Yeah, I remember when I'd train next to you, we'd be doing Metcons. Like, I wouldn't be able to see Zach necessarily, but I could like sense him.
Yeah.
And that sounds like really weird when I'm trying to be like, oh
Yeah,
man,
no,
I'm like
I wanted
ultra
to be weird.
like these energies are just bouncing off between.
Dude,
But
our
I was like,
chakras connected.
I know. Yeah. Don't be
My face turned gold. I'm the Iron Fist.
chakra. I can feel this
You're
chakra.
Luke Cage.
Yeah.
We're just
But like I could just know where he was in the
Yeah.
workout, or if I knew he was going ham, or if I was going ham and he wasn't, I was like, oh man, I know I gotta like hold
Yeah.
on. There was there's something mental going on there that makes it fun, and there's the same thing going on in weightlifting. That's kind of like my
sure.
long answer to that. It's something
Yeah, no, I love it,
mental. It's peaceful, like you said. It's art.
Yep.
I don't know why I said art like that. It's art.
Art,
I added,
it's art.
I added an H in there.
Yeah. No, I tell you, one of my favorite moments in my CrossFit career and in our friendship was Hulks and Ninjas.
Oh.
I think it was like event 3. I was doing the box jumps, and I was just like, I had this moment that I'm like, we're gonna win. We're gonna win. I'm like, bro. And you looked at me and went, you can slow down. We're winning. And I was just like, and I was like, I gotta keep going. It was just, I have never felt more horrible in my life. Cramping, biceps were cramping, my abs were cramping, my core. But every part of me wanted to go hard because my best friend was right there. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, you got that here. You got that. Like, on every day, you're next to people that you want to go hard for. Like that. And that was a cool moment. Our chakras were definitely touching that moment.
Yeah, totally.
And to stand on top of the podium, I'm like, on that. And it's like, it's
podium.
it was just, it was kind of cool, man. Like that's cool. And I think that kind of sums up what you're talking about. The art of it, the community of it, the fun of it, the process of it. It hurt, but it was so worth it.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I cramped up so bad. We went out to sushi afterwards,
Of course. That's the
I
most
was
important
like,
part.
I had to just lay in my car after we got done eating for like 45 minutes. I mean, it probably wasn't 45 minutes, maybe like half hour or something like that. I was like, my wife was like, Crystal, you gotta drive home. We're cramping up. But yeah, that was fun. You nailed it. You nailed it.
Perfect, man. Hey, thanks for sitting with me.
Yeah,
You're my best friend.
you're my best friend. I love you.
That's awesome.
You're my best friend.
What are you gonna eat tonight?
Oh, what are we gonna eat tonight? I think we're gonna go. I got some raviolis. I'm gonna
that's
do some red sauce on there.
Oh.
And I spent some time in Italy growing up, so I know how to do that Italian food and do some pork chops, some lemon garlic green beans. Yeah, we're gonna do it up.
You just gotta keep making that sandwich, man.
You
No
gotta
matter
keep
what you're
making that
doing.
sandwich.
You
You're just not gonna eat it ever.
Yeah,
until
but tonight
a
you're gonna
while.
eat it.
Tonight I'm gonna eat it though.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey guys, thanks for listening. As always, you can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. If there's anything you want us to talk about on the podcast, let us know in the comments section, or you can email them to me directly at zach@crossfitbangor.com. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll see you at the gym. What? What are you saying?
I love my mom.
Okay.